Newcastle will hold a minute's silence before the game following the death of their former winger Christian Atsu in the devastating earthquakes in Turkey and Syria.
Passed through in that moment was probably the most difficult moment that I had in my life, me and my family, especially Gio.
The loss of Cristiano Ronaldo's son at birth shocked the entire football community, and players, coaches, and fans all sent heartfelt condolences. Rival Liverpool supporters even sang "You'll Never Walk Alone" in the 7th minute of their team's subsequent game as a show of support. But that's just one of the heartbreaking moments on this list. One player left the game. In 1989, Liverpool played Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup at the hilly Hillsborough Stadium. Thousands of Liverpool fans arrived excited to watch their beloved team play, not realizing the disaster that was about to occur. The stadium had a terrace standing area. Liverpool faced Nottingham Forest, and the fans jeered the player's brother's death. The player lost his leg in a plane crash, and the rest of his teammates died as well, which began to fill up with fans. However, due to inadequate police crowd control, the space quickly filled up beyond capacity, and the police were only made aware of this after the game had already started. The players noticed that fans were scaling the fence, but these weren't pitch invaders. Rather, it was fans attempting to survive as the area behind the G-post got so crowded that they were taking any and all measures to get out. As a result, fans began collapsing, forcing medics to start scaling the fence, and even though ambulances had to enter the field, it was already too late. 97 spectators had died, being trampled and crushed in the crammed area, and hundreds more suffered severe injuries as a result of the match officials' poor planning and handling of the crowd. However, not all tragic moments are associated with death, as some football players sacrifice their lives for their teams. So when it's time for them to depart, things get extremely. Passionate goalie has since abandoned football due to the spectators' real booing of the "When his brother passed away suddenly the day before a game." Ahmed Yahia, for a football team in Egypt, was not expected to play, but he felt compelled to perform through his grief because he knew his team needed him. He was trying his hardest to support his teammates and fans, but sadly it was in vain as he gave up 5 goals in the game. Instead of cheering him on, the spectators jeered the goalkeeper, which was just enough to push him over the edge, where he really lost it. Sobbing, stormed off the field and refused to continue the game. Later, he stated on Facebook that he was giving up football for good. Can you imagine losing your brother just to have your own supporters jeer at you? I can't hold the tough guy responsible. Move on tears as Totti retires. Rarely, if ever, has a stadium been filled with as much as emotion as on 28 May 2017. The day Roma said goodbye to Francesco Totti. A local lad, one club man, and one of the greatest talents of his generation, Totti became a Giallorossi icon during his 25-year spell at the club. After his final game, a 3-2 win over Genoa, he read a letter to the fans, and there wasn't a dry eye in the Stadio Olimpico. Roma's video of the moment was titled "A Stadium of Tears." They weren't exaggerating. Time I saw a dude cry that hard was Paulo Dybala. Now the Pala and Juve go way back after he joined Juve from Palermo in 2010. Dybala immediately became a fan favorite, and in his 7 seasons at the club, he scored over 100 goals and gave some world-class performances that made the fans sing his name every week. But at the end of the 2021-22 season, Dybala announced that he won't be renewing his contract due to personal reasons and that the end was now. It was one of the hardest days of his life, and in his final game, Dybala couldn't control himself. Tears wouldn't stop flowing for Loyola. That's how much UVA means to him. See, guys, part of the reason the UVA fans were also in tears was because Dybala's announcement kind of caught them off guard. And when it comes to surprises, it was heartbreaking to see Messi so emotional during his farewell press conference. Leaving Barcelona after so many years was obviously incredibly difficult for him. His wife even had to hand him a tissue to wipe away his tears. What happened next is truly bizarre. Someone managed to get hold of the used tissue and put it up for sale online, asking for a staggering $1 million. They claimed it contained Messi's DNA and could be used for cloning, which is obviously ridiculous. Incredibly, a model apparently offered over $800,000 for the tissue, reportedly wanting to pose for a nude photo with it. While this story is undeniably strange, it highlights the length some people go to for fame or attention. Next story, 1990, Gazza's tears. Oh, Gaza. The wobble of the England midfielder's bottom lip after he received a yellow card that would have ruled him out of the 1990 World Cup final softened even the hardest of hearts. The Three Lions never made it there, going on to lose on penalties to West Germany. But it was the moment a nation fell in love with the precociously talented youngster. In 1958, a terrible plane disaster claimed the lives of half of the United Squad members. Sir Matt Busby was the squad manager at the time, and he had assembled the most exciting football team ever. They were adored by all football fans for their youthful energy and passion. They had just won a Champions League match, which advanced them to the semi-finals as the clear favorites to win the entire competition. However, on the way back to Manchester, the plane had to stop in Munich to refuel. There was low visibility and the weather, even though the weather wasn't ideal for flying, the plane tried to take off nonetheless and failed. The runway colliding with the airport's perimeter fence, half the occupants of the plane perished in this horrific crash, leaving the other survivors gravely injured. Among these survivors was a man by the name of Bobby Charlton, who survived the ordeal and went on to become a legend in football for both Man United and England, winning the only World Cup that England has ever won. Sir Bobby Charlton lived a football fans around the world are grieving over the loss of an inspiration similar to Sebastian, who lived a long life following the disaster and passed away recently.